Hey everybody, it's about midnight right here where I'm from. I should be going to sleep soon. I gotta hit the gym tomorrow, practice some b-ball. But I was on my phone and ended up on, you guessed it, Instagram. And you all know how that works. I follow a lot of Warrior stuff, so I was bombarded with all the cool pictures and videos they shared. Before I knew it, I just couldn't sleep. This typically happens to me once or twice a week. Anyway, the more Warriors games I watch, the more stuff I see from them off the court on social media. The more I realize how deadly they're going to be next season, and that's exactly what I want to talk about here on this video. Just before I get started though, I'm going to grab a leftover slice of pizza from the fridge. It's a bit messy in my place, so I got to do a Euro step to get to the fridge. While I do that, why don't you go ahead, smash that like button, and if you're new, subscribe, and like always, welcome back to Hoop Reports. The 2022 Warriors are going to not just be scary for the league, but extremely frightening, especially for those teams with championship aspirations. If not for Michael Jordan and his Bulls, so many more great players would have championship status. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, just to name a few. If not for the 1-2 punch of Kobe and Shaq and the Los Angeles Lakers, then Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, and Allen Iverson might have won a championship. And then starting from next year, if not for Curry and his Warriors, so many would-be champions have been blocked from hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy. That's just bad luck, to be born in the same era of greatness. In boxing, that would be like all the guys born in the Muhammad Ali era, or maybe the Mike Tyson era. In the UFC, that'd be the John Jones era. In the NFL, that'd be the Tom Brady era. Curry and the Warriors' second era is about to start. The first has already passed, and look what that did. I love LeBron James. He's one of my favorite players and probably the second best player behind Michael Jordan in the GOAT category. I gotta admit that if not for Curry and the Warriors, LeBron would probably be the undisputed GOAT. In 2019, the Raptors won the championship against Steph Curry when the rest of the Warriors were in the hospital undergoing surgery. The following year in 2020, Steph Curry joined them in the hospital, and it was a much-needed rest. I mean, 5 years of a grueling 82-game regular season plus postseason games that went the distance is not only physically taxing, it's mentally draining too. This year, 2021, Klay is still out and Wiseman is developing. Curry is shaking off the rust and Draymond is getting back in gear. Despite everything though, the Warriors are still in the playoff picture, and that's not bad. Before the regular season ends this year, I still expect the Warriors to become one of the top teams in the West because of the development of the team overall. No teams, not the Jazz, the Lakers, or the Clippers, are going to want to face a Warriors team led by Stephen Curry, even if Klay is out. I bet that as the season develops and the Warriors get better, all those top 3 West teams are just hoping the Warriors land in either the 4th or the 5th seed because, let's face it, it's embarrassing to get knocked out by a 7th or an 8th seed in the first round. The first ones to grill you will most likely be Shaq and Charles, followed by Stephen A. Smith, who is, might I say, a specialist at beating people up with words. After these analysts have their say, players are going to chime in, especially if there's been a lot of trash talk. Last year, after the Clippers lost a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, oh my God, all NBA content on YouTube became literally Comedy Central. Kawhi is a cyborg, so I'm not sure if he felt anything, but man, Paul George, playoff P, has probably never had a worse offseason. After that, the internet trolls come in and just finish the job. What was the point I was trying to make here again? I got so lost in the train of thought that I completely forgot the big picture I was aiming for. Oh yeah, okay, that's right. The Warriors won't have a top seed by the end of the regular season, but they'll play like a top-seeded team, guaranteed, and no team is going to want to play them, especially first round in the playoffs. Why is that? You might be thinking to yourself, what is all this development, get better stuff, and positivity that this dude is spewing out of his mouth? You might be thinking, is this dude like the Tony Robbins of the NBA? Here's a fun fact, guys. Did you know that Tony Robbins is actually the friend of Golden State Warriors co-owner Peter Guber? Tony actually worked with Steve Kerr and Draymond Green, and although he said he had nothing to do with their success, Peter Guber said that that's not true at all, and that Tony really contributed to the Warriors' success. Anyway, back to the topic of the NBA shivering in fear of the 2022 Warriors. A juggernaut is coming, guys. A juggernaut is coming. Let's do a little math to see how big and bad this Warriors team is going to be. The starting lineup will likely be Steph, Klay, Draymond, Wiggins, and Wiseman. Steph is going to get, let's say, 25 points per game on the conservative side. Klay coming back will probably get about 17 points per game. Draymond Green, although known for his playmaking abilities and defense, should get somewhere between 5 to 10 points per game, so let's say about 8-ish. Wiggins will probably get something similar to Klay at around 17. And lastly, James Wiseman, I'm going to go with 20 points per game. And if we add that up, that's 87 points per game from the starting lineup. Moving Kelly Oubre to the bench, and that's got to be one of the top benches in the league. Oubre, Pascal, JTA, Looney, Lee, Bazemore, Mulder, Marquise, maybe Jeremy Lin, and perhaps another center if they could acquire one, and that's going to be deadly. This season, the bench is scoring about 38 points per game, but if you move Oubre to the bench, you can probably bump that number up to at least 40. Let me take out my calculator here real quick. 87 plus 40. That's 127 points per game average next season. Just for a comparison, the highest scoring team this season is the Brooklyn Nets at 121 points per game. But by the end of the season, that'll probably cool off and dip a bit. If the Warriors do hit 127 points per game next season, that'll actually be the NBA record, as they'll beat the 1982 Nuggets, who averaged 126.5 points per game. Anyway, guys, let's get back down to earth. Those numbers were just for entertainment, and although they could hit 127, they probably won't. Let's say I was off by 10 somewhere, and they'll hit 117 points per game. That's actually still higher than the Durant-led Warriors, who hit an average of 116.9 points per game. I'm getting real scared. Not of the Warriors, but of the fact that whenever my sports teams are on a roll, I tend to, put a little extra beer on the credit card. And looking at next year, that's going to be a lot of beer. I can't wait, though. I really can't wait. Hopefully, this whole pandemic will be back in the rearview mirror, and with my Warriors cruising to another title, life is going to be sweet. Some of you guys say that there's no way the Warriors are going to be able to keep this team together. That salary that they're going to have to pay is going to be off the roof. And yes, it is going to be off the roof, but man, they got one of the most competitive owners in Joe Lacob, who said that he's willing to go deep into that luxury tax if it gives the Warriors a good chance of winning it all. I mean, this year they're already paying the highest luxury tax. They pay almost $90 million more than the second highest luxury tax paying team this season, which just happens to be the Brooklyn Nets. So there's not going to be an issue on the financial side. If the Warriors go to the finals next year, I think I'm going to have to grab some courtside seats, so y'all might see me on TV. I'll be rocking a vintage Warriors cap and jersey, and of course I'll be holding a beer in my left hand, maybe in my right hand too, with a smile. And I'll be thinking to myself, life is good, guys. Life is good.